We are live. There. Hello, everybody. We are live.
You are live and
oh my gosh,
live and direct on YouTube. Please do not swear.
I'm not swearing.
No, it's usually me that ends up swearing at some point. Of course, these things
It's Denise that would swear, not me.
I don't swear.
So, oh, here we go. Right, so we are live, and I can now see the whole feed on YouTube. Right, so yes, welcome everybody. Here we are. We're not on the boat this week. We are in the winter version of, or the winter part of Aussie Shores. Pris's Australian themed region together. There is a summer part and there's a winter part. And I'm learning more about Australia by the minute because I never realised that they had mountains with snow and stuff on. I've always, all the Australians that ever talk to me tell me about these like 40-degree temperatures, and some of the really nasty guys tell me about the things that have got more than 4 legs. And scared the crap out of me because basically I don't like spiders and stuff like that. It's no secret. And they like to tell me about the rather nasty things that are, well, basically everything in Australia seems as if it wants to try and kill you in some way, shape or form.
That would include the snow then.
Yeah. But there is a winter part, like an alpine part to Australia. When I think about it and I think back to the Winter Olympics, I have seen the Australian Winter Olympic squad doing bobsleigh and stuff, and they do pretty well. So they're obviously practicing on something. So yeah, there's winter stuff. So here we are in Australian winter theme. This thing has been going under build. It's been a little bit fraught for Pris as well during the course of the time. So I know she's had a few struggles with it. But yeah, here we are. It's snowing. We've got the mountains around us. We've got all sorts of activities to do. I mean, the usual guff that you get with Winter Sims. So you know the skating and all that kind of stuff. We've got a few other random things in here as well. There is a Siberian tiger lurking in the background somewhere as well. Don't quite know why. He probably escaped from a zoo somewhere, and he rather likes it in the cold weather. We've got a few other sort of white.
You liked it, so I left it there.
Okay. So yes, okay. I do sponsor a Siberian tiger in real life in a zoo in the UK here because it had quite a profound effect on me as a kid because they are the largest big cats in the world basically. And this thing, well, when he opens his mouth wide, I can put my head in it. They are not small creatures at all, and I would not want to be attacked by one. I think they've actually a couple of keepers killed over the times when they just annoyed them. But anyway, be that as it may, yeah, we've got a Siberian tiger. We've got all sorts of things. Chris, you can tell them all about that in a minute. We've got the barbecue and stuff. We've got a bit of bridge. It's kind of a Christmassy theme coming on here. Have you mentioned the interview that you conducted? Yeah, has that gone live? I don't think it has it? So
no. I'm still working on it. Yeah, I still got.
Talk about that.
Yeah,
when it's time.
No.
Pris met a very important person on these very seats that we are lounging around on right now, and had a good time. Apparently, it was quite constructive. So I've heard. So we can't wait to see that one. That's coming up on the channel very shortly. At least I think it's coming up on the channel very shortly. But there will be some messages to people in Second Life from some other people in Second Life who I'm sure you may have heard of. So yeah, so that's all coming. Other things, yeah, we're looking for suggestions in terms of what we can include on the region here as well. So if anyone wants to come along, fine. Yeah, I've left the boat anchored up in the bay in the summer part of Aussie Shores, and we've decided to come up here and have a bit of a barbecue. Some coffees and stuff like that, and yeah, it kind of like a winter regional theme going on here as well. There's all sorts of stuff. It's just nice. We haven't got all the cheesy Christmas Santa stuff here, or not really. There's a few bits. You know, if we have got that stuff, we've kept it in our own homes, and the rest of it is it's just a nice chilled winter region. You can lounge around and do wintry stuff. It's great. So yeah, here we are.
Link is in the description if anyone wants to go there directly.
Yeah.
And it's also there.
Have a look around. Take pictures. Spread the word. We have a winter version. There is winter in Australia as well as the summer on the Barbie.
Okay,
We haven't
just
got the
for
winter,
your
we've got the winter on the
information,
market now, so
Andy.
you can have a winter version of that.
Yeah, but Andy, for your information, we had the Threadball landslide in 1997 that killed 18 people.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
So that's all good.
that's what I meant when you said even the snow kills you in Australia.
Yeah. Well, we've had landslides and avalanches and stuff like that elsewhere, but I mean, yeah, it's out
Yeah, but
there
we
as
don't
well.
have that much snow, in comparison to other.
Yeah. What else has been going on? We've got. I had a bit of a moan last week. We'll be honest, and I did a whole load of problems which I'd had in terms of the graphics with Second Life and how they were conflicting. I still have a bit of moan because this time I'm not going to moan at the people that create it, or the people that make it in Second Life, or make the whole programs possible, because they're doing their stuff. They are actually doing quite a good job. The photographs I can produce are amazing when I don't crash trying to do them. But I actually found that the fundamental problems I have were down to graphics drivers at my end. And updating those, and I had a conflict on those things, and I found that actually the easiest way to do that was to uninstall the graphics drivers entirely and reinstall them from scratch. Once I did that, suddenly Second Life became an awful lot more reliable and an awful lot stable, which was great. However, I still am going to have a bit of a moan. I'm going to have a bit of moan at a lot of these landscape creators, and I'm going to have a moan at people that are doing landscapes and region and building these things, because when they build them, they look at PBR and they think that PBR is the way forward. You're into shiny shit, and I will use that word. Then they think it's the latest and greatest thing. But to show off the shine, they have to put like hidden, what we call reflection probes in place. Now, if I walk around the town, if I walk around my local town here, there's going to be a few things that with a bit of ambient light. There's going to be a whole load of things which are going to reflect the sun. The sun tends to be in one place in the sky, so you tend to have the reflection coming off that, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of other things going on. However, when I go in certain regions, I find hundreds, and I mean literally hundreds of light sources which people are putting in. It makes everything almost to the point of where you could almost go full bright on what it actually looks like. And there's, basically it overloads your graphics cards and your virtual RAM with your computer trying to store these things and then render them on the screen in front of you. This, folks, is what's burning out your graphics cards. Creators, please, get a grip. We don't need to have these things. In the real world, it doesn't happen the way you're trying to portray it. You're actually burning out other people's graphics thing there. Don't say, oh, it's all right because my computer works and it renders on mine. Think of the people that have got to visit it. We are all experiencing problems. PBR is more resource intensive. So the very least you could do, please, is be a little bit mindful of the people that are wanting to visit your regions. Don't throw them out of Second Life and crash their computers. They can't all afford to replace them straight away. So it might be just worth having a look at where your reflection probes are and consider, are they really necessary? So that's my rant out the way for this week. Other things that are going on here as well. I did my usual bit on there. I had a chat with Pris middle of the week actually, because I was playing with AI and Chat GPT, and I realised it shows you how tech savvy I am not. And I discovered that I can actually talk to Chat GPT, as in not type to it. I can actually talk to it, and it answers back to me. She sounds quite cute actually. Got to be honest. Clowny's on the stream. Hello, Clowny. Good to see you.
Okay, and
but
I'd like
hi,
one of the things-
Clowny.
One of the things we thought we'd try and do was, one of the things I mentioned to Pris was, wouldn't it be really great if instead of me reading off what Chat GPT and what the AI and news aggregator provides me, I could actually get the AI bot to do it and get it to talk. So we're working on that. That might be something for 2026 or 2030, depending on how tech savvy and how it all works out. So I'll let them talk about the whole thing. But Events coming up this week.
Okay, before that, can we say, because it's Denny's first Christmas?
It is.
Oh yeah.
Well, in Second Life,
Yeah, well, yeah,
I'm not
first
1
Christmas
years
in
old.
Second Life.
Okay, I'm not a 1-year-old. Just to be clear.
Well, you're not even one, actually.
Not even close. Anyway,
How-
yeah, it's
How old are you?
the first holidays.
She's
38
303
actually.
days. You've actually got another 2 months to go before you've actually been here a year, Denise.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey,
That's
you're
scary.
10 months old? That's, wow.
Do you know, if I was a really cynical Second Life person, I could say you were an alt. And I know for a fact you're not.
People
Which
have
is quite,
said that
quite
to her.
amazing. Yeah. But it's just in terms of the things that you're doing and the services on there. But hey, you're kind of the proof of the pudding, the proof of the fact that you don't always have to be a real techno whiz to be able to get the maximum out of Second Life.
Well, she
There you
did a
are.
lot of research before she started.
Yeah, no, and
I know.
I am kind of tech savvy when it comes to modding games and stuff, so
Well, there you
yeah.
go. But you've not done it quite so much in Second Life before. So, when people
correct.
when you get people coming into Second Life sometimes, and they look really fantastic, and they've only been in Second Life a week or more. What you've got to consider is sometimes they come into Second Life, they can't get into a lot of the regions and a lot of the clubs and events they've got out there because they are so new. So what are they going to do the rest of the time? They're going to sit and go to the few places that they can go. They try and talk to people. Most people won't want to talk to them because they think they're potentially suspicious or wary of their motives there. And sometimes, all they can really then do is potentially work out how to go shopping, work out how to walk from point A to point B, and work out how to customize their Avi, which is where I'm going with these things. There are some amazing looking new people coming into Second Life who've actually got a bit of a brain cell there and can actually do these jobs quite quickly. All I'd just like to say to everybody is please give them a break. They're not all out to create trouble. Let's just everybody get along. At the same time, it's Christmas as well, so we should all be getting along as it is. But that's just something I am seeing, and the fact that we've got these new basic avatars which are coming out, and the things which are coming through, sponsored by various prolific stores we've got out there, again makes it very easy for people that are new accounts to look half decent and not like the dolls that they used to be years ago. You took one look at them and you knew that there was something off. And there are still people that look like that in Second Life, and I'm not going to say what I think of them and if they're good or they're bad. I guess they'd have their world and I have mine. But yeah, it's just nice to see that the whole region, the things that are on there, apart from my rant earlier, things are looking a lot more realistic now, and I think that's a good thing. If you go into other virtual worlds, the open AIs, the 3DXs, the universes, and the other verses of this world, some of the other ones that have been out there at the same time as well, the level of quality and realism that you get in Second Life is quite exemplary. Yeah, you can go into games and you can see some of the other stuff on there, and cyberpunk and those kind of things. They look great, but they are a little bit limited in terms of what you can actually do there. And literally, in Second Life, the world is your oyster. Um, so yeah, I think it is a positive thing. I think when they've sorted out the techno issues, they've sorted out the rendering issues, and as long as people use a little bit of common sense and think a little bit before they start just pulling the pants out of it and throwing the farm at whatever they're doing, I think you'd have something that actually looks quite remarkable, photogenic, very usable, and long may that continue.
Yeah, so it's interesting because I've already had like a couple of the Sims that I roleplay at had their holiday parties. One of them actually had it today,
Yeah.
and it's interesting because you can tell who the older people are just because they have like really cool outfits and stuff. That because they're seasonal, maybe I'll discover them this year. Some of them I just have, right, because I saw them.
Uh-huh.
But I would imagine as the years go by, you start collecting all of these things. So for the seasonal stuff, you have a lot of options. And for me, it's actually been tricky because I've been like, well, okay, how do I accessorize for the holidays, knowing that I'm only gonna use it, maybe a month, a year?
Yeah.
How much do I really want to spend? So I'm picking up, little things here and there, and with the fat packs that I have, using reds and that kind of thing. Like, because I don't want to spend a lot on outfits. Maybe down the road I'll start spending on stuff when it goes on sale or whatever. But for new people that might not know, if we have any that listen to these,
Yeah.
um, a lot of the creators now are doing advent calendars. So every day they're giving away an item for free. Like, for example, one store that comes to mind is Glitz. They sell lingerie and stuff, and they're giving away, like, every day they have an item that's for free. And if you don't pick it
That's
up that day, you can pick it up for 50 linden for the rest of the duration of the calendar.
what a
But if you
great
log in
idea.
every day,
If I was into women's lingerie, I'd definitely go there for something like that. I think that's
oh, come
great.
on, you are. You're getting the newsletters.
Maybe.
I'm getting spammed from all these creators that want me to wear women's clothes all the time as it is. Simply because I've been on a mailing list, I may have bought someone an item of clothing at some point in the past. Because of that, they want me to spam, and
Someone?
I can't get myself off their mailing lists once I'm on them. It's really frustrating. I'm not going to go into that rant because we had that rant a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, women's clothes don't suit me. It's not a good look. I really don't want to be wearing them. But they keep spamming with all their shopping lists and please come to our store. And I'm thinking, I can't do it. It's just a waste of money to me. But yeah, anyway, sorry to
Yeah.
this.
And also some stores are having sales. The ones that maybe a few that had Black Friday sales, but are still doing, instead of doing an advent calendar, they're actually doing sales.
Yeah,
So there's that too. So,
Yeah.
you
Well-
can keep track in the usual places. Like social media has some posts about it. I know that Seraphim has like a repository of all of the advent sales, and there are a
Yeah.
lot of them. Like, I'm not actually trying to go through all of them because it's literally too many. Like, I'm just targeting the key stores that I want to see.
Well, this kind of brings me on to one of the things that have come through in the news on what's going on in Second Life this week. The my artificially intelligent entity, I think it'll be amazing. There's come up there said what's new and exciting Second Life this week. The first is the 2025 holiday shop and hop. There are 360 creators across 18 regions participating in this massive shopping event. If shopping is your oyster, if shopping is your thing, then hey, you can go and blow your bank account on all this stuff there. You'll probably need a second mortgage once you've done it for 360 creators, but you never know. Every store is offering at least 20% off all items, plus a free gift, or 300 linders and a gift certificate for shoppers. This event officially opened on Friday, December the 5th, a week ago, at 9 a.m. Pacific time, Second Life time. If you were in the Second Life birthday group, you had early access there as well. And basically, there is also an official Flickr pool sitting out there. This has come through on the Second Life community pages. You can share your haul of whatever you've got there. If you bought, you probably need to buy a truck or a lorry to put this lot in. 360 creators, that's an awful lot of stuff. So yeah, and you can share what you've bought and share your new acquisitions and recommendations or I'll call them testimonials because they might not all be good. You never know. So they're all out there too. Love the idea of advent calendars, Denise. I think that's a great idea as well. But obviously that's going to be one for each of. Imagine if 360 creators all created an advent calendar for 25 days or 25 gifts for 360 creators.
There might be that many, to be honest, because there's a lot of them. Like I said, like I just discovered a few because I got the notices.
Yeah. Can
Because I'm
you
in the
imagine?
groups, right?
Can you imagine wanting
Then-
to keep up with all that lot? You could go from 0 to something like 30,000 items in your inventory in basically 3 weeks here as a result of the advent calendars being opened on 360 creators across these 18 regions. It's mind-blowing the amount of opportunities people have got there. And please don't all buy the same sweater. Okay.
People will.
Yeah. They'll probably end up with the thing I've got, which is I thought I'd try and be a bit festive this week. And yeah, it's an old one. Yeah.
It's cute.
I know I need to get another one. I've had to de-render half my body to physically get it in, otherwise it just pokes out through various parts of my anatomy. But we
Didn't
won't go
find
into
it a lot of winter clothing though this year. I had
Yeah.
planned of doing a video about it because it's all the clothing is like what you're wearing, like it's not for winter cold.
Yep.
Cozy clothing I can't find.
Yeah. So anyway, the holiday shop and hop has launched. We've mentioned that thing. There are other things which are going on in Second Life this week, which have also been launched, which is quite amazing. There's lots of live events out there as well. Even Patch Linden's out there is playing Santa with his mole elves, with some live events running on with that too, with premium gifts if you are premium members on there as well. There are the gifts coming through that on the live events with Patch. So that's out there too.
Yeah, he thinks we're all just gonna forget.
Well, I'm just mentioning it. Another thing,
No,
there
I
are
mean Patch thinks that. I'm not
We're
gonna
not talking
elaborate.
about that. Please move on.
yeah, there are a bunch of well, there's a whole new known who. Oh, excuse me, my tongue's gone in the wrong place in my mouth. There's a whole new load of winter-themed last names which have come on sale. Winterland have released the limited time festive surnames. So these are only available for up until sort of Christmas, really. They're seasonal. They might return next year, only for a short time. In true sort of TK Maxx style, when they're gone, they're gone. Look at it that way. The surnames which I can see at the moment are Nutmeg, Krampus, Solstice, Twinkle, Snowveil, Everfrost, Winterpelt, Glacier, Nuzzle, Polar, and Gingerpaw. It's amazing. There's never a Smith or a Jones or anything like that in the thing. So you get these things, they sound like reindeer on Santa's sleigh or something. Anyway, that's my thing. So you've got these new festive names which are out there. They're seasonal, and they are looking for suggestions for future names as well.
That's partly because in the labs only has a few for you to choose from.
Yeah.
You can do resident or you can do from the short list that Linden Lab provides. I've heard that back in the day, around 2009 or something, you could just make a.
Sorry, Clara, you stopped.
A while, years.
Yeah.
You what did you say? Can you please repeat?
I know.
I didn't hear. Back in 2009, what happened?
Oh, I've heard that back in 2009, you could make your own last name if you wanted, but it hasn't been that way in a few years.
No,
You're either resident or
we had to choose from a list of names.
Yeah. Oh, so in 2009 you did. Okay, maybe it goes back further. Yeah. So you're either resident or you're one of these short list of approved.
Because
names.
that's how I got my last name, Newell. That's because I'm from 2006.
Yeah. It's interesting. I remember IMVU used to have a thing that if you basically took a subscription out, so you did a form of premium, then effectively part of that meant that you could actually buy your own name, the name that you decide to have, not the other names which are out there. No, sorry, it wasn't IMVU. It was because IMVU did the same thing as Second Life, so you had the limited names. It was Otherverse that did that, and so that when you bought their VIP, you could actually then define what your main name was going to be and your second name from that point of view. And I think that's a great idea, really, I do. I wouldn't want, to be perfectly frank, I wouldn't want personally any of those names. I just think they're almost like kids' things or something. It makes me sound like a reindeer or a kid's pet or something in a child's zoo. I'd rather have something that's more normal, natural. I could even maybe pick my own surname. That's scary. But it would be lovely to have something like that out there. We always seem to be limited to that paradigm that where they want to go in terms of the actual names that are out there, and I feel that's a bit of a shame. That's a missed opportunity. But yeah, there we go. They are looking for suggestions.
Well, I don't know. I think it was last year. They had somehow through friends of mine, I got to see the list of new Linden names that were available for Halloween. like
Yeah.
you pay 50 USD, you pick your name, and then it's there for ever if you want.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing Calavera and getting so excited. Can you imagine if I was Clara Calavera?
I think I saw
Yeah,
the
my
film.
issue honestly is that I think it's incredibly overpriced.
Oh, it's so cool.
Like
Yeah.
it's super expensive to actually
Well, looking on the
change
chat,
your name.
Kimmy's found on one there. Kimmy Twinkle. She wants
It's
that one.
cute.
There we
Yeah.
go. Kimmy, it's there. And I agree. I think that's a great name, actually.
Yeah, that suits you, Kimmy Twinkle. Kimmy Twinkle.
So,
No,
yeah,
I think
definitely.
so. I'm looking at the list right now, like the ones that are available right this second, and hey, I could actually get Lagmore. It fits too.
Wow.
Like more.
Yes, literally. There's one of the surnames is Lagmore.
Clever.
Imagine how many
Yeah.
people working on the nutmeg store sales team are going to go and get the nutmeg's surname. I'm just looking at that and
the thing is
thinking, yeah, that's really that is tailor made for them, isn't it?
People
I
do
do
that.
agree. They should have at least a
Yeah,
rotation.
I think they changed their last name to Apple. I think when it
Yeah.
became available.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
they should at least have a small rotation of more like conventional surnames.
yeah.
Because these
Yeah,
are cool, but they're kind of they're kind of Harry Pottery kind of thing. It's like Wiggletail. It's like seriously.
Yeah.
Or they
Yeah,
could
yeah,
bring
you know.
back the username like they had Gossip Girl. I missed on that. If I had known it was there I was on, I would have gone for a Gossip Girl last name.
That was fitting.
I wanted the Gossip Girl last name.
There's Krampus though. You could get Krampus.
Nah, that's horrible. I want Gossip Girl, okay?
Well, actually, Pris, I think Twinkle would go quite well with you too. I think
Pris-
Pris Twinkle
Pris
would be a
Twinkle.
good one.
Oh yeah, Kristen. Oh,
You know-
okay.
you know,
Kimmy, can we be
actually-
It sounds like
sisters?
Chris
Awesome.
Crinkle.
In
Kimmy,
fact,
and
Wait,
Chris.
wait. Chris Twinkle sounds like Chris Crinkle.
yeah.
No, Pris
Yeah.
Twinkle.
I'll tell you something else as well. In certain parts of the world, twinkle is another word for like dear or darling, something like that. So in like the East End of London, the Cockney rhyming sound, the East Enders can say like hello twinkle, and stuff like that to people as well. So it's not always necessarily seasonal. So you could call yourself Twinkle, or Treacle is another one that's out there as well. I don't know if that's a name, but that could be a good name, I guess. So hello Treacle, how you doing? And they do that sort of thing. So those are other things out there as well. Anyway, suggestions for any other names that people may have this burning desire to have can also be submitted via an official form. Again, you'll find that on the Second Life community pages. It's out there as well. Right, moving on. Premium and Premium Plus gifts are out there. They've now got holiday themed gifts for all Premium and Premium Plus members. I'm neither, so I don't know if they're good or bad or not. Answers on a postcard, please, or alternatively in the chat, because we haven't got postcards. You can pick them up at the Premium Gift kiosks in World and add extra cheer to your virtual adventures. Again, more details on the Second Life community pages for that. So there we go. A little bit more information on Patch and the Mole Elves. It starts on Friday, December the 5th. There was a special live event featuring Santa Patch and his Mole Elves. And yes, it included festive fun, photo opportunities, community cheer. Again, details on the Second Life community pages there. I don't just look at the Second Life community pages. In fact, I don't look at any of this. The AI does all that for me. So please don't think I'm biased towards any particular page or any particular feed. Other holiday highlights, there are communities across Second Life hosting, you mentioned Advent calendars, Denise. We've got other seasonal games, art showcases. You cannot go into a club in Second Life now without finding something that's Christmas or winter themed. If you look at the destination list, the editor's picks, just about everything has got snow and ice in it. It would be refreshing to find something that hadn't, frankly. So that's out there too. In the club that I'm involved with, yes, we've just turned our seasonal thing on today, or yes, last night actually. So that's that we've finally succumbed to the season. So yeah, that's all moving forward. Another holiday highlights as well. We've got the Yacht Holiday Advent 2025 is an example of some of these advent calendars. Again, daily surprises, interactive fun. You'll find that on the Second Life Syndicate pages from that point of view. So it's short. Second Life is fully immersed in the holiday spirit this week. We are now moving into the Christmas period. We've got naming fun, exclusive gifts, there's the shopping, stores, live events. And if you like exploring creative like I do, it's a perfect time to dive into the shop and hop or check out the Advent events because you find lots of inspiration and maybe even some cyber aesthetic treasures to remix into your own projects as well. It's out there. Go and have a look. And yeah, the AI is now asking me if they want me to spotlight some of the most interesting creators. And
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah,
We
I
don't.
mean-
We don't generally favour particular creators on this channel. So I'm not going to mention some of the ones which could go on
Yeah,
there as well.
no, but that we're not a channel about shopping, just shopping. So yeah, that's they can find. Another thing though that happened this week, or not possibly last week, is that we have the social ban in Australia.
Social ban.
Yeah, so
Social media for kids.
if you're under 16, you can't be on social media. And I know Minka did a video about is Second Life affected because it's kind of considered a social kind of.
Yeah, but you have
you
to be
can-
18
yeah, you
to join. So if there are kids trying to get on Second Life and suddenly finding that they cannot or
Yeah.
something, they shouldn't anyways. So
Yeah.
Second Life, I don't think is part of that conversation.
Yeah, but anyway, so
Wait,
I was trying to sign up for, well, I thought I had an account on Kick, and which is a live
Yeah.
streaming service like Twitch, and I don't have one, or I can't remember my details. So I went to sign up for one, and I have to verify my identity.
There we go. Yeah.
And
Didn't we talk about this? Didn't
yeah,
we talk about this several months ago?
yeah,
And I
I
said
know,
it's
but
coming.
I'm okay with that. I don't care. I'm okay with that. The problem is they give you two options. Take a selfie, and I'm thinking I am not taking a selfie, or do it through Connect ID, and I'm thinking okay, let's do Connect ID. Connect ID is linked to 3 major banks in Australia, but I'm not in those banks. I'm not banking with them, so I couldn't sign up.
Just send
Well,
a
that's a
picture of Abraham Lincoln or something.
Yeah,
I
Denise is
think they'll
probably
be
right.
able to tell.
Denise is probably right there actually, because what what they were using is they're using AI to look at the image and decide if that image looks like a child or looks like a grown adult. So if you send them a picture, I know, but that's the way they're doing it. They're not going to double check and see if it's actually you unless they have a point of reference to look at. So if you did put a picture of Abraham Lincoln on there, who does look remarkably over 18, or over 16 anyway, that would probably get you through. God, just imagine how many people are going to be potentially looking like Abraham Lincoln as a result of me just saying that.
Okay, but that defeats the point of that social media ban. Then, if everybody's going to, but they make it so difficult for other people. That's what I'm getting at. Like,
Yeah.
okay, fair enough.
So let's go back and examine what we talked about. You've got a couple of options there in terms of verifying your age. And here we've got the age verification on parts of social media as well as adult sites and all those kind of things too. And they ask you to either set an account up to verify your age with a document, or take a selfie and do something that way, or effectively cross-refer to something like a Google account or something where your age effectively has been verified on that already.
But it didn't let you do that. That's just it. That's where I'm having an issue, because it only gave me those two options, and I'm thinking, well, I'm not. So I couldn't do the latter one. I didn't want to do the selfie one, so I didn't join. So if they're going to make it so difficult to join a social media just because of this verification, they're going to lose a lot of people.
It's
I
going to
think.
make people reassess their attitude to social media for sure.
Mm.
Can you imagine? I mean, every time you've got to set up a new channel, you've got to verify your age, and stick that out there as well. And don't forget also that if you're verifying your age, you're putting your own personal ID, not your made-up ID. You're putting your own personal details, attaching that to social media. So, hey, guess what? The guys that have got lots of alts and fake accounts have got a problem coming. And this was something else which I mentioned when we first talked about that on that fantastic day when you said, what's this age verification thing going on about in the UK, Andy? You're getting it in Australia now. We also know the laws are changing in California. Now, when we all sign up for Second Life, we actually signed an agreement to say that firstly, we agree to everything we find in Second Life. So we're not going to sue people for that. And in terms of, the content and whether it's adult or not. And the other thing that we signed to agree to is that we will abide by the laws of California, which is where Second Life are based, or the Linden Labs are based. So the requirement for Second Life, or the Second Life community, to verify their age to use Second Life is not there presently because Californian law doesn't enforce that. However, Californian law is being updated and the laws are being changed. The process has been going on for the best part of 2025 already. So it will continue, and undoubtedly there will be a form of age verification coming to Second Life. Can you imagine what that's going to do to the numbers in the Second Life community?
Nothing.
That means that every time you've got a character, effectively you're going to have to verify its age and who you actually are for it. Can you imagine how that?
Oh, you're talking about alts, not age.
Yeah, well, I'm talking in terms of accounts. So people that have bot accounts, people that have alts, this is going to filter out all of that. We will start to see true
Not
numbers
all
and true people.
bots are bad.
Look, I didn't say if they're good or bad. I said the fact that
how they do it, Andy. Like it's gonna depend on how rigorous it is. Because if you just have to provide something that makes it, at least they gives them plausible deniability to say that you're a minor. Say like, no, they represented themselves as overage. That's what they're gonna go for if they're allowed to do that.
But as Pris will tell you, because I've got this in the UK already, but Pris is now getting it in Australia.
Andy's not talking about age.
As I was saying, I've got it in the UK. Pris has now got it in Australia too. You have to, when you start to go into these social media or any form of media, you've got to verify the age. And it doesn't mean to say you've just got to say you're adult. You've got to prove it. And that's where the problem comes. If you're going to make up alternative accounts, you've got to prove your age on each one of those accounts. And that is going to link it back to you. Now, can you imagine if you're then on something like PrimFeed, where you've got to conform to that too? That's going to be an interesting one.
But to be fair, I mean, all you're gonna know for sure about the person is that they verified. But that doesn't mean that the information that you provided to verify is gonna be transparent to the likes of PrimFeed or to third parties, like to users. Like for example, if I had verified, like to put it one way, they have my payment info on file, right? Because I buy Linden. So but you don't have that information. Like it's not transparent to other users. All that you know is that I've provided the payment info.
Yeah. Well, that's the Linden Labs. I mean, I get that, and that's completely fine. That's secure and great. It's when you're dealing with the other organisations. If you want to pay tier, part of that is going to be secure. But some of your other details, in terms of having to pay the tier, will then become more transparent to, say, your landlords. The guys that run PimFeed that are asking want to know how old you are. You've got to prove that to them at some point. So you're going to have to start showing your real life personal details to these guys. And I think
because if they do like that other option, which is called Connect ID, so it's kind of an app. I guess we've got that with the social centering and all that. But you get this app. You connect to it, you verify your identity with it, and then you use that to log in. That just means that you are verified, and then you can use it to log in. So it's not giving your
Okay.
information. It's just telling, yes, that person is over the age of 18.
Okay.
Providing a handshake. So as far as you're going to have to provide your information to the entity that verifies, but not
Exactly.
to the people that you verify to, if that makes any sense.
Exactly. So who's that person going to be?
Yeah, but we
Probably
have,
your government,
yeah,
because
we
there's
have
no
that.
option.
It's a government thing. We already have that as a government thing, but that's only
Right.
that's more geared towards businesses. But this Connect ID is the bank. So it's three of the
Yeah.
major bank in Australia. We've got the big five, and three of them are doing this Connect ID thing. So I don't know how it works.
Yeah. So, you know, where you've got these things out there, they are effectively, unless you've got that actual app running, you're going to have to verify your age somehow to be able to start using these things. This is all going around the world. It's something we did mention several months ago that was coming, and obviously it's still happening, and it's spreading. So it's starting to tighten its reins on your part of the world, Pris, and undoubtedly it's going to also then happen to other parts of the world. We've already got it here in the UK. It's already coming. It's starting to tighten its reins on Europe and all that too, and it's coming to America. It's coming to the USA. So it's going to be coming to Second Life. We've all got to be aware of this. So yeah, I'm not going to say if it's good or bad, but it's just something that's coming.
See, I think it's just going to come down to people in each country pressuring their government to provide a secure way of verifying. That's going to be that. Your government already knows who you are, so, and they already have all your information. So as long as they can serve as the verifying party, I don't see it as an issue.
Well, this is the thing. You're saying people pressuring the government. It's actually going the other way. The governments have already made the decisions. They're actually starting to pressure the people. So, you know, that's a slightly different thing.
If you as the people say, fine, I mean, if you're going to force me to verify, then you're going to be the one doing the verifying. Don't leave it up to each individual vendor. Because where I see the problem potentially emerging, especially in the United States, is if they go for the good old capitalist solution and just say, oh, let every business do their verifying on their own.
No,
Well, of course they will.
You're going to have to give
yeah.
your information to each individual vendor, and that's going to be a problem. But as long as it's centralized, I don't think, I mean, it's inevitable that it's going to come. So it just comes down to how you do it.
Worst case scenario, to my mind, is going to be that because we've all signed an agreement to go by California laws where we all joined Second Life, it therefore means we're going to have to verify our personal details and our age, etc., to someone in California. That means that they're probably going to want to see a copy of my UK passport and my personal details to be able to verify my age in Second Life, or potentially do a handshake with another intermediary party, which is going to have that information as well. So, yeah, I have a problem.
Do a universal app, though.
Yeah, I have a problem with that kind of information going to a country which is effectively on the opposite side of the world from me. I would much rather retain my own personal information, and in fact GDPR says that they're not really entitled to ask for that level of information from me. They can only really ask for something to verify my age. This is the catch. The only things that are really going to verify my age are the official documents that basically have that. So, you know, there's two ways of doing it.
They just need to do a universal app. Everybody is using the same, or like you know, you can log in with your Google account, then you can log in with your Connect ID, and probably each country will have, or you know, Europe will have one.
Well, I think that you've got that app already out there, Pris, which enables you to link to your various social media channels. I think you're a step ahead of an awful lot more countries in terms of doing that. I agree that probably is the best way forward. Not every country has that, unfortunately. But it does mean, as I say, effectively, Second Life is a form of social media, just like all the other
Yeah, but I don't think it got hit, right, in Australia.
No, yeah,
Second
it
Life
doesn't.
doesn't.
It's not affected. No.
No, because legally, your agreement is being governed by Californian state law, not
Yeah,
Australian.
but still, you still need to be 18 to be in Second Life, not 16.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
And I'm pretty sure also that the same is true with, like, I haven't seen the agreements for Facebook or whatever, but I'm pretty sure any disputes are also going to be ruled by California law wherever they are.
No, but Facebook and YouTube have to obey by the Australian law, so you can't have an account
That's
of
the point.
Facebook
Like,
and
it
YouTube.
doesn't matter that Second Life says you have to mediate in California, because ultimately, if Australia decides no, anybody in my country is gonna go by my laws. So if you
Yeah.
don't abide, I'm not gonna let you, you know,
Yeah,
actually
because-
monetize here.
Yeah, YouTube send us
Service.
emails, saying that your channel is going to be affected if you are channeling to streaming to people under 16.
Yeah, but I mean, when you sign the terms of service with when you hit that agree button to the terms of service that you have with Second Life, because you're not going to get in Second Life unless you've hit that button anyway. But that one of the conditions that was within that says that you will agree to be governed and ruled by Californian state law, which is where Linden Labs are based. So when
Yeah,
the
but
Californian
wouldn't that
state,
apply to cases where California law is more stringent than your local law? Like,
correct?
I don't think
Yes, it will.
in an instance where your local law is more stringent than California's,
Yes,
you're still
I mean,
bound by your local laws, right? And so
No, you're
would
not.
Second Life.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Because, here in the UK, we've got certain laws relating to, let's pick an example, sale of goods, the Consumer Act, where goods have to be of merchantable quality, they have to be fit for purpose, they have to be able to do what they basically say they're going to do. And if they're not fit for that, or if they're not suitable for what you are entitled to a complete refund. I cannot have that law within Second Life, because Second Life is run under Californian state law, and it's bandit country as far as I'm concerned.
Wouldn't it be because you're not actually buying with, like, your transaction where it would apply would be the one with Linden Lab, right? You're using
right,
the
so-
in-game currency as a second-hand currency, so that's why it wouldn't apply, right?
Yeah.
No, because basically the Consumer Act says it applies to all purchases made, whether they are physical, in my local town, or on the internet.
Well, you can use your bank details too on the marketplace.
So hang on. So basically, that then means that as far as Andy here near London is buying something in a Second Life marketplace, which is being run under California state law. Technically, the Consumer Act says that they are bound by my local laws, and if therefore I buy something that doesn't fit, or I don't like it, I'm entitled to a complete refund or exchange. And that's it. As long as it's brought to the people's attention within a reasonable time. The reasonable time is actually defined in the Act as being 28 days, or a suitable time thereafter. So you can even, in terms of electrical items, you can go back and exchange stuff up to 3 years afterwards, effectively.
Yeah,
if they're
but
not.
keep in mind, what I'm saying is this, like, for
Yeah,
example,
but basically, when you I'll finish. When you basically sign that agreement on the terms of service with Second Life, it overrules that. You're actually giving a waiver to your rights under the Consumer Act, and you are agreeing to be governed by the rules under Californian state law. And that's why I can't have my refunds and do all the things that I can under UK consumer law in Second Life. So,
okay, but what I'm saying is this.
Yeah.
For example, let's say that right now, to use an example that doesn't apply to Second Life, but where it's easier to see what I'm saying. Let's say that you had an MMORPG or any other game, right, where you have a currency, let's say gold. If you could buy gold with real money, let's say that you buy $10 worth of gold, right? You bought $10 worth of gold and you got $10 worth of gold according to the terms of the sale, right? They tell you, well, for those 10, you're gonna get 1,000 gold. And that's exactly what you got. Now, what do you use that gold for within the environment of the game? Your laws wouldn't apply to, because the transaction for you was between you and the developer of the game to buy the 1,000 gold. See what I mean? That's the same thing Linden Lab is doing. They're selling you lindens at an exchange rate that is defined and mediated. As long as you got your linden and the amount that it says on the invoice, your transaction was good and valid. Now, if you're gonna spend that linden on an item that doesn't fit, you're not actually spending
No,
your
Denise,
currency.
that doesn't.
You know what I mean?
That doesn't. But it doesn't. But it doesn't always apply because on the marketplace you can go straight from your bank account or straight from your PayPal or your card. That's your own. That's not
Yeah, but
because
you're
you
lindens.
still
still
need
buying
to buy
linden.
lindens. You still need to buy
Yeah, well, you're
linden. It
No,
buying
you
doesn't
is
go.
the
don't.
linden.
Yes, you
No,
do.
Yes, you
you
do.
don't.
You
I
need.
do stuff direct from my card a lot. Like it doesn't
Yes, and you're
require
buying linden
lindens.
first.
You need to
Hang on,
buy
no, hang on.
lindens.
No, Clara is correct. Because I'll tell you for why. Because I know this, right? Because I went into Pris's. I paid tier on my house in Pris's thing here, literally in the space of the last 48 hours. And when I went to pay the tier on that, it gave me the option of paying in lindens, paying via PayPal, or paying by another media. So there are 3 options which I could have had in terms of payment on those things. I don't necessarily have to pay for it in lindens.
But hold on, that's where it goes. You're still paying in linden. They're just offering you to buy the exact amount of linden for that purchase.
No, because the option was to pay, as I've just said, via lindens, via PayPal, or via another option.
Because if you have the linden, you don't have
direct
to
transfer.
refill. But
It's
if you
convenient
don't,
for me. It's convenient for me to pay it in lindens, but if I didn't want to pay it in lindens, I could pay Pris direct via PayPal. I'll probably save money doing it because I have to pay commission on lindens and stuff like that
is
too.
that via Casper Vend or is it via
Yeah.
Linden Lab?
Pris, it's Casper Vend you've got,
matter.
isn't it?
Yeah,
That's,
yeah.
yes, it matters because it's a separate thing. Like that's a different transaction handling system. But if you're in the marketplace, you're gonna buy it with Linden. It's the only option.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
So, yes, it
Yes,
is.
it is.
No, it's not.
You
I
can't.
pay
The
with
marketplace, Clara?
I pay with USD a lot in the marketplace. Yes. It tells me how many lindens, and then I pay the equivalent in
So
USD.
you're buying the
And the
Linden,
only-
yes.
No, because if I was buying the linden, there would be more than just regular sales tax.
What?
Because when you buy linden, a little bit goes to Linden Labs.
What are
You're
you?
still doing that. When you exchange,
you're
there is
not.
a commission.
Alright, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, there is. Like every time you buy Linden, they take a cut. That's a transaction fee that you see when you buy
Yeah.
them.
That's how they
You
make
can buy it
money.
Exactly. You can buy it directly, but you're still paying the commission. It's the same as if you buy from your client. Like right now, you could go to buy Linden, and you're still paying the transaction fee. They just don't show it to you.
To avoid paying lindens, like Andy would have to pay me directly, like to me. That means we do a transaction outside. I can send him an invoice through PayPal. Then that's different. That's just doing something through PayPal, and then it would be protected by PayPal's rules. Like if he's not happy, he could just ask for a refund because he's dealing with PayPal. But
Yeah.
everything that you
because-
pay,
Well, what's the bigger
lindens,
point here, though? Why does it matter whether we're paying for lindens or not? What's the bigger?
Right.
Because the reason the law wouldn't apply is because your transaction isn't with, let's say, if Pris had a store and she were selling clothing, your transaction isn't with Pris. You bought the linden from Linden Lab. From there, what you do with your linden is your problem.
yes.
Linden Labs, when they started using currency and things, using the ability to buy things in Second Life, they built an entire currency system. They could have just bought a store where you could buy an item, you could buy a unit of currency, call it a Linden. You can buy almost like a voucher. We can call it a voucher. We can call the Linden thing a voucher if you wanted to. They've done that, and then basically you buy X number of vouchers, and you can use those vouchers to pay for items which are being sold within Second Life. But they haven't done that. What they've actually done is they've created a whole currency unit of a virtual currency. This is why Taja was bought part and parcel of that. When the investors invested in Second Life and they've used that money towards developing Second Life,
the reason that Second Life was so attractive to the investors was because they had built that entire monetary financial system in there. That financial system basically gives Lindens a sort of pseudo credibility as a standalone unit of currency. So when you buy Lindens, you don't just buy them as vouchers, you're actually buying it as an item of currency. So you are therefore being paid a currency conversion charge for doing it. You're also being charged an administration charge for doing it too. None of us live and die, unless we're virtually, using Lindens. So basically Linden Lab have taken have literally created their own financial currency system and a trading system to do that too. So you can buy them at different rates and trade them on that basis too. They've done all this. There's a model that I'm the
exactly. And in fact, the reason that I'm making that distinction is because this is the same reason that a lot of the gamified casinos that you see out and about, they don't let you bet directly with money, because then gambling laws would apply to them differently than if they sell you the currency and let you bet it separately. For a long while, they had been circumventing the gambling laws. Only now are some places changing the laws to include the second-hand currency, because they were even allowing children to gamble.
Well, the very reason that gachas were banned for a while was because there was a realization that you cannot basically allow an item of chance to. You effectively are gambling if you are basically trying to buy an item, and it's literally only you've got to gamble as to whether or not the amount you're paying is actually going to give you the item which you're trying to buy. And that's why they stopped that. Now they've managed to find a way of circumventing that, and it's actually in the small print of the whole thing. So some gachas and some principles of gachas are coming back, but you still have the ability to go and buy your own items and do stuff that way.
Yeah, and also because if you look, it's a widespread practice right now. There's a lot of these gambling websites, gambling everything. Like gambling has made a comeback with a vengeance.
Yeah.
Now everybody's in it. Like it's incredible.
Yeah.
Like I was watching a video the other day about how even banks are allowing people to gamble on their platforms directly.
Yeah.
Go
The
ahead.
interesting thing is, if I buy something in the marketplace, or if I buy something in Second Life, I've got to basically buy. Well, I can pay for some things direct through a PayPal account or the other way of doing it, but generally I've got to do it by buying Lindens. So my contract for purchasing stuff is basically with Linden Labs or Tilia to basically purchase those Lindens. For the point at which I've actually purchased those Lindens, I then am bound to basically bound to Second Life, and I'm therefore bound by Californian law from there on. That's the reason why they can get out of that's the reason why they can get out of the application of the Consumer Act. Because I have to basically buy something.
That's what I mean. It's because of that two-tier
system. It's fluid. It's fluid. It's fluid, and it's actually selecting against anybody that isn't in the USA, because not only have I got to pay an admin charge, not only have I got to pay a conversion charge to buy Lindens, I've actually got to pay my own currency conversion charge for UK pounds into dollars to be able to then buy the Lindens from that way. It's horrible. It really selects against people that are not in the USA for that reason. Just like support is not available for people who are not in the USA, and I really loathe that. Yeah.
I mean,
if something goes wrong,
the few times I've had to ask for support, which has been a handful of times and for very specific things, I've gotten a near instant reply, so I can't complain there. And obviously, I don't live in the States. So.
Yeah, but I mean, you're fairly close in terms of time zones. I'm 8 hours different from California, so if I have most of my activity is going to be happening at a point where California hasn't even got out of bed. In fact, we have the banters when I go into clubs and everyone says good morning, and I said, really, it's like evening here, the sun's just set. But yeah, it's kind of you have that banter going on with people where they want to apply Second Life time, and if I apply Second Life time, then basically I'm always going to be working the night shift, because effectively I'm on the wrong side of the planet as far as that's concerned. If something goes wrong, all I can do is raise a ticket and hope someone sees it. And the fact, when I started seeing that they were investing more in support staff and people to get rid of those tickets, I thought, well, get rid of the tickets in terms of actually resolving them. I thought that's a really good thing. I am disappointed now to hear that Second Life is pulling back, or the Linden Labs are pulling back from some of their support staff now, because effectively that reduces the service which I'm getting. I feel exposed. I feel vulnerable in the fact that I'm locked into a platform where I have effectively no support, and effectively is selecting the people that own the USA against the people which are outside the USA in other time zones. I feel that's a real shame. I would love to see them providing some kind of a service where I could potentially pick up a phone using a UK phone number and actually talk to someone, rather than potentially a bot which can give me just a common line, and pray that someone actually understands what I'm talking about, because people don't always understand people because of their culture or the way they talk or the language differences. So I feel exposed. I feel vulnerable for that. But there we go.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah,
read?
it's a kind of a sketchy thing. I mean, I think eventually they're gonna have to, like the countries are gonna have to legislate the second-hand currency as well to some degree. There's a lot of questions if you do that, especially for games where, where anything could then be valuated at a real money value, which is what happens in Second Life, right? I mean, anything that has a Linden value has a dollar value by extension, or any other currency.
Yeah. I'm still smiling at my face, looking at Kimmy with her idea of treacle and twinkle. So yeah, it's one of the little difficulties that you get when you sign up for a platform which isn't in your own country. So you kind of take a bit of a chance with it. It would be lovely to feel more confident in the fact that I could be given the same level of service that people that are in the USA. And unfortunately, I'm not. But actually, I have a better chance than certain other people which are in other countries which do not necessarily even have a financial agreement with the USA on the same basis as the UK government does. I can buy Lindens through my credit or debit card on my bank account that way, and it's relatively simple for me to buy Lindens. It's as simple as certain countries. Some countries have no end of problems.
So here, for example, like I have an international debit card, which actually does the exchange automatically. But there are credit cards here, for example, where if you do a charge like that, you actually have to go and buy the dollars from the bank to then pay the credit card. Like actually have to go to the bank physically and pay in US dollars. So yeah, it's kind of sketchy.
What do you mean you have to go to the bank?
Yeah, that's one of those things. Third world things. Like, for example, some credit cards, like my card is international, right? So I can buy anything in any currency. And what will happen is when I buy it, the bank is just going to convert it to the current exchange rate. And they're going to put it on their, in the local currency. But there are credit cards here that don't work that way. And they'll tell you, for example, you have, let's say, $100 and then 10,000 pesos, right, which is the local currency. And then when you buy something in dollars, it's going to go into that dollar bin. And you're going to have to pay that in US dollars, not in the local currency. If you want to pay the bank, that way you have to go there and buy the dollars from the bank and then deposit them onto the credit card to pay it off. Don't ask me why. I'm just telling you how it works.
There are examples. There are a number of countries in South America which cannot transact directly with the US government and the US currency exchanges. They have to go through the process that Denise has just mentioned. There are other countries out there. Okay, tongue-in-cheek, I'm not being political, so this isn't trying to be controversial. How many people out there say that they support Palestine? Yet the US government has an embargo on doing any form of trade with the Palestinian government or with Palestine. If you therefore live anywhere in Palestine, be it the West Bank, Gaza, heaven forbid, what's going on out there, or in any of those sympathetic communities, you are unable to buy currency for Second Life. Effectively, you've almost got a government sanction against you joining Second Life. If you live in other countries, Russia, North Korea, those kind of organisations, you also have similar problems on exactly the same basis. So how they do it? There's a lot of Russian people actually in Second Life. They're using VPN right now to spoof where they actually are, and show that they're actually in a different location, and then effectively they can then start doing that extensive currency conversion process that Denise outlined to convert their, what's the currency for Russia, the ruble, into dollars, and then from dollars into Second Life. Or alternatively,
Wouldn't they know
alternatively,
the credit card is from Russia, though?
no, because they will, no, because they
there
buy.
are actually options. For example, there's this thing. I don't know what it's called. I don't remember because thankfully I haven't had to use it because I have, like, the bank that I work with here in the Dominican. They have a branch, let's say, that is in Panama. That's like Popular Bank, it's called, and that branch deals in dollars. So basically everything gets routed through there. So they have absolutely no problem. It's the same. Like, my debit card basically works like an American debit card in any place where they take them.
Yeah.
So I'm good there, right? But if I didn't have that, then there would be cases where I would need a U.S. card. And there are still a handful of services that work this way. For example, I cannot sign up for, what's it called, that the Microsoft service, the one that that's like a monthly subscription and you get games, Xbox Live or whatever. I forget what it's called now.
The Xbox.
Yeah, the Game Pass. Like, I cannot have a Game Pass because they apparently don't have an agreement to take Dominican credit cards. So if I wanted to have that, I would have to transact through a credit card that is based in the United States.
There we are. That's exactly it.
Because as long as I reside here, then I cannot sign up for it. Even though it works on everything else, Game Pass just doesn't work. There are ways around it.
Okay, but
One
to
of them
have
is this service. I forget what it's called. I think it's like Freedom Card or something like that. That is apparently used to send money to people in jail. Don't get me started. Anyway, so
Okay,
it's
but
basically,
how
it
do you,
works like a credit card, and it's like a little account. So you'll deposit money there. They'll take a cut. Then they'll give you basically like a disposable credit card number, and you can set that up so that you can pay into that account, and that account will pay the third party.
so even if you're not a resident in the USA, because I would assume to have a credit card. Well, I had an account in the US, but as soon as I moved out of the US, I lost that account.
Yeah, but this service allows you to deposit internationally, and it will transact. It's kind of like, I don't know if that's still a thing because it's been a while since I've done it. Last time I did it, I actually lived in Venezuela, so that was a separate thing. But like, you could buy these international cards that were basically like an account, and you just pay into them. Yeah, and then you'd use that as a credit card. It was literally a credit card, but you charge it, like you have to pay into it.
That's right. Monzo, Revolut are two examples of that, and I see those. Revolut was set up by a Ukrainian. Monzo, I'm not sure quite where that came from off the top of my head. But again, what you do is you charge up an account with your own money in those. So you're transferring your own currency into that international account effectively, and then you can start paying from that account into whatever you want to use your money for, which could be, as I say, Linden Lab and Linden Dollars, and do it that way. Isn't it interesting, just coincidentally, how people in some of these sanctioned countries are some of the most innovative creators that we have in Second Life? And now you kind of know why. Because to carry on doing what they're doing in Second Life, they have to find other ways of generating revenue. So working in clubs, hosting, creating items on the marketplace, etc. New heads and things like that. If we're talking body parts, creating all those items, that's where they get their money. That's how they can carry on being part of this community, because the US government, or let's just say the US government, let's just say the governments of which they are party to, and the governments which are looking at Linda Labs, etc., and the currency there don't always tally together. So they have to find
Not just
ways.
that. There's also an interesting thing. I was talking to someone the other day, right? And for example, like I have a career. I've worked at an executive level in different companies, right?
Yeah.
I could replace my income if I could make $3,000 a month. Like,
Yeah.
you guys live in first world countries. Could you live on $3,000 a month?
No,
I know some.
no, not
Well,
here.
exactly. But I can. Not only can I, if I made that much, I'd make marginally more than I make working an executive position here because the cost of living is so much lower. Right?
Yeah.
Which means that it opens up a whole range of stuff that I could do if I can work remotely and still live here. Like I can do a whole bunch of stuff. And if you get creative, for example, maybe that is a level of income that for some creators is achievable in Second Life. And then if you live in a country like this, you can live pretty well on that income. Whereas if you lived in the United States or, you know, in Europe, in the more expensive parts of Europe, let's say, it wouldn't be possible, right? So
I think
a lot of times, that's why you see a lot of people in these countries hustle a lot more. Like, I don't know if you saw the drama there's been with political commentator accounts on X or Twitter, where they've basically exposed the countries that accounts were created in, and if you download the app, which app store you download it from. And what it turned out to be the case is that a lot of the people commenting on both left-wing and right-wing US politics were people from India, people from Bangladesh, people from all over the world. Why is that? Because the money they can get from engaging in controversial discussions and getting engagement is actually a living income in their countries. Wouldn't be the case in the US.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. I've seen it, as I say, from some of these other countries, and that's why they're doing what they're doing. But let's just rope that back in and see that in the context of what we talked about at the top end of this conversation about age verification. If your age verification, if you are, let's pick the classic example. If you are in Palestine and you have to verify your age and all your national documents are Palestinian, and you have effectively masked your identity, maybe using a VPN, etc., to show the world that you are not in Palestine, that you are in Italy, for example, then you're going to have a bit of a problem when they then come to apply Californian state law and say, we want you to verify where you actually are and who you actually are, because the only way effectively you're going to be able to do it is by giving them a spoofed picture of Abraham Lincoln.
But don't be surprised if...
But can you see it?
You know how they say, where there's a will, there's a way, right?
Yeah.
Don't be surprised if some US-based company starts providing that service and allowing people to verify privately and use them as an intermediary. Like, I'm sure somebody's going to come up with a way to do it to still shield those people. I would not be surprised at all. Because where there's a will, there's a way.
You're right. There will be a way, and there are apps out there, even in the UK side, that are doing these things. They are all actually agreed and sanctioned by the UK government, so they still have to go through that kind of ruling. And you have no doubt that if you have to go through that in Californian state law as part of the US thing, that the US Department of whatever they want to call the department is going to basically have to be looking over their shoulders to make sure that they keep to the rules. So it's still out there. One of the other little things which I did notice was that effectively there was talk in the US about banning VPNs, which is going to really screw everything up for an awful lot of people.
Banning
Ones that
VPN.
want to hide there. Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to be viable unless it gets to go worldwide. Like, the whole point of VPNs is that you can circumvent a lot of the checks for people to know that you have VPNs.
Well, no, it's not to circumvent checks. It's to mask your identity. It's an additional form of info security. That's what it effectively is. So you are no longer being able to geographically be located.
People use VPNs to most people.
Hello?
Sorry, I'm having a lot of lag. Most people use VPNs to like watch their favorite Japanese show even though they're sitting in London or something like that.
Not quite. What they do is they realise that the VPN
makes their location.
Some people, yes.
Can I
Some people
finish?
use it. Well, we know someone who uses it to spoof their identity and stuff, but most people
No,
are
I'm
using
saying
it to.
people use VPN to make their location untraceable,
Right,
so they can
exactly.
mask where they
And
actually are. So
most
people
people are
use
doing that for like Netflix and stuff.
No. The people that generally use VPN are people.
I happen
You
to
can
know
buy
someone who is trying to trick everybody, but
No,
most people
no.
doing VPNs,
Clara,
most people
no.
doing VPNs are not doing that. I have not
Clara,
talked in
no.
like half an hour.
Clara, no. I'm sorry, you're wrong. VPNs are part of a standard package for every antivirus or security product you have on the marketplace pretty much now. So people are using VPN to be more secure on their computer and their internet browsing activity. That's what they use it for. Yes, as a side issue, you can mask your location, and if you want to be able to use Netflix
That's not
from
what
a
it's
abandoned
getting
area,
advertised.
but
That's not what
because
it's getting advertised for.
well, it is because
It's
I'm sitting
not.
here. Look, it is because I've got an antiviral program down there, and it keeps telling me turn your VPN on, because I don't put VPN on. It tells me to turn my VPN on so that I cannot be traced in terms of location-based services. That's an added layer of security, and it's something I opt out of simply because some of the applications which I work on will not work if I actually mask my location. So I have other forms of security which enable me to carry on and do that. That's what VPN is actually for. However, VPN, you're not going into a ghost world when you set up a VPN, because a VPN effectively, the people that give you the VPN are still keeping records on you, and those
Some
records
of them do. Some of them don't.
they are visible. They have to be visible. You can
No.
go to them and say,
There
I
are
want to know
cases
what
that are
this is.
not. Like
Yeah.
there are VPNs that are more secure than others, but I do agree with you that a lot of them don't go to
Yeah.
that level, right? I mean, if they got leaned on by a government, I'm sure the records would appear very quickly. But,
Exactly. Yeah.
But there are VPNs where they literally like let you pay through Bitcoin, and all you have is a key in order to pay to your account. And in that case, it's really difficult for them to verify. Not impossible, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, you can go onto the dark web, and you're in bandit country if you do that, and effectively then you can mask your ID and do transactions on that stuff, but effectively you are vulnerable to people coming back at you through the same means, using those channels, as you are going after potential people and using that to mask where you actually are. So yeah, there's a ways through that. I have to tell you, from a government security point of view, that all this is traceable, and it's as clear as glass to them who you are, where you are, and what you're doing. So VPN is not. There are tools to circumvent it. They are
So
not
you're
these tools.
contradicting yourself, right? Because you're saying it's used
No,
for
I'm not. I'm
but
not. These I haven't finished. I hadn't finished. No, sorry, I hadn't finished. The tools are not available on to the general public, but they are available to government security areas, because I used to work with an organisation that does it.
Okay, but all I'm saying is that Clara is correct that for the layman, VPNs have been advertised as the thing that lets you watch a show from London Netflix instead of US Netflix. Like, I know because my mother has a VPN. Like, we have one, like, we rent one. That's what she uses it for, because she wants to watch. In fact, she was watching Downton Abbey the other day using the UK version of the UK mask of the VPN in order to be able to watch it. You know what? Sometimes, like, Amazon or something will notice that a VPN is doing that, and they'll break it, and then within a week it gets patched and it's working again. So it's an arms race. So yeah, I mean, I do think that Clara has in the sense that the way that VPNs have sold themselves for mass appeal is telling people that they can use it to watch their favorite shows.
Yeah.
Well, they can effectively, yeah. There's a thing I get from the BBC called BBC iPlayer. If you want to watch British TV and any of the shows and stuff that have been on the BBC, unless your local show or your local channels are rebroadcasting those things, you will have to basically use the BBC iPlayer to do that. And the iPlayer detects if you are in the UK or not, because the BBC is a UK state-funded organisation. And if you are attracting that channel from other parts of the world, you are not necessarily paying for it. So they actually don't allow you access to BBC iPlayer.
So the only two ways around that is if you already have an iPlayer account, which has been set up in the UK, or you spoof your location to be in the UK, because the BBC iPlayer simply will not let you look at the programmes. So if you're a Doctor Who fan, or a Downton Abbey fan, or some of the other programmes that come directly out of the BBC, and that you're using iPlayer to be able to see those things, and they are the latest versions of the shows, not the stuff that cascades down to other areas, then that's the reason why it's not, that's the reason why you can use a VPN effectively to spoof that for the time being. But that will change. That will change in time, as I say, because as Pris has got her social media access being effectively governed by a verified app to say that you are over that age, and to verify you're over age, it's basically going to verify your ID, which is going to include where you are and who you are. That's going to make it very difficult for people in certain geographies to carry on transacting within Second Life, because the government of the US changing the laws will stop them. And it's a shame. It's not necessarily right, but unfortunately, it's the way the world is going. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's gonna end up being as much of a battle as trying to get rid of piracy, and probably about equally successful.
Yeah. I mean, I've sat down with Clara in months gone by, and I've sat there and watched, and we've watched movies together. We've watched movies that I can't even get in the UK. We actually watched them through Hybrid, I think it was, or something like that, because effectively the movies were out there. And
that's great. That went away because of Pris.
Yeah, well,
I
yeah,
didn't
like I
do
said,
anything. What the hell is wrong with you? That wasn't me.
look,
I had
Pris, I was
nothing
sitting
to do with this.
I was sitting alongside you when we had that infamous broadcast and the whole thing blew up.
I know, but I wasn't the one who instigated this. That was somebody else. That was another blogger that did their research, and we just invited him. That's all. We talked about it.
I'm not saying that what he did was a good or bad thing. What I'm simply saying is I enjoyed, like other people, I enjoyed the ability to sit and watch movies. And I enjoyed the ability to watch movies with Clara at the same time that she sees something happen. I like to see the same thing happen on my screen as well, rather than playing a YouTube video, which effectively we do countdowns. We say like 3, 2, 1, press play.
The most frustrating part of it all is like, if you had an option right now, if they told you, listen, Andy, you can pay $15 a month and you can get that functionality back. And those $15 are actually gonna go to figuring out how it gets done and how it gets spread so that you can do that legally. That would be awesome, but they're not gonna do it because of how complex the attributions and the profit incentives are.
And they know that people will basically look for the tools that give them the most channels, so they have the most amount of options out there. So of course
that's a problem. Like it's the same reason that piracy is making a comeback with a vengeance in the whole movie thing, because they've ruined it. Back when it worked, like you had one platform where you could get most of the stuff, it was awesome. Then piracy went down, but then everybody decided, oh, I'm gonna have my own streaming service, I'm gonna have my own thing, and then you have to subscribe to 20 things. It ends up being more expensive than cable. You don't get as much. So it's no longer a good value proposition, and that's why people pirate. And that's what they need to get in their heads. Like, as long as you don't provide a service worth paying for, where people feel they're getting their money's worth, people are going to keep pirating. And it's the same going to happen here. Like, until you provide a system that removes the need for anonymity in a way that satisfies most people, you're going to have people dodging the verification thing.
I was here. I was on that broadcast. I was at the cusp of the whole thing. I could see exactly where the gentleman that did all the research and everything to bring it to his attention. I could see exactly where he was coming from. I could see the point of view of the fact that all the people that howled in protest of the Hybrid being taken offline. I get that too. I miss it too. And I would like this. I'd love the ability to have to sit down and watch movies with Clara again. I'd like to sit down with just like Kimmy Treacle Twinkle has done. I'll call her that because I know Kimmy, so she was probably laughing as I'm saying it in the background somewhere. I would love the ability to sit down and watch Gavin and Stacey with Clara in real time, and the best way to do that would be using BBC iPlayer, so she could hook into that thing and we could see it and watch it together, despite the fact that we are 8,000 miles apart. And that would be awesome. Not just Gavin and Tracy. I mean, Gavin and Stacey. There's like Doctor Who. There's a whole number of shows out there which will gradually make their merry way around the world. And people start to appreciate things just like they have Doctor Who. I keep talking about Doctor Who, sorry. But for those kind of shows, and we have the same thing coming from the US coming back in as well. Slightly different because we don't see all the shows that are in the US. We see a handful that the channels in the UK select as being ones that they think that the UK people are going to be interested in. So the real crap that's out there, and I've been watching through some theatres in Second Life, some of these ones which are complete rubbish. I was amazed that people actually watch this stuff on TV. And Clara was saying to me, "Have you never seen this?" And I'm saying, "No, I never knew it existed." So those kind of things. It would be wonderful to have the ability to sit down and watch those kind of things together, but there are laws and regulations. If I want to watch a film on YouTube, it's an actual film that I want to subscribe to on YouTube, and then Clara will watch it. They won't let her.
Yeah, and if they at least had a service, because that's the other thing.
We could go to Discord. We could go to Discord, and we could share a screen, and literally it would block her from seeing it.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
There are not ways that are sanctioned by the applications. Like you're not supposed to stream anything on Discord either, right? Because you're violating your whatever, right? But the point is, if Netflix offered you an option and we're like,
Discord
listen,
streaming
Andy,
for the most part doesn't work. It's me. Discord streaming for the most part doesn't work. YouTube will block it.
I've just said, that's what I just said to do.
Yeah, the less we talk about that, the better. We can talk about that privately. But anyway, the point is, if Netflix told you right now, listen, Andy, you can pay an extra $5 a month, and you'll be able to stream to up to 5 people, so that you can watch stuff with your friends. You'd probably think that's decent value, right? But they're not going to do that. Same problem. And that's the thing. Like, until they can make a common sense solution, it's going to keep happening.
Yeah, I might be wrong, but I think there was a point where you could basically sign up for a Netflix account, and that will work anywhere in the world. So you can watch your Netflix account from anywhere in the world. And that kind of makes sense because it's an internet-based thing, and that's all well and good. I think Netflix actually stopped people sharing their account details.
Yeah.
And they did it by blocking locations, and they did it by identifying the locations that people are starting for. So people are now starting to try and use VPN to mask where they are to get to Netflix. It's all going to get very stupid. Yeah.
You can pay to have an account. So my daughter has her account, and she's paying an extra $7.99, which I'm paying to have an account, but I live at her address basically, and then we had to verify because I was logging in through my TV, so she had to verify that my TV was her TV, something like that. So there's a lot of security, even though we're paying the extra money to have the extra person on the account. Yeah, you still need to be.
Yeah, the thing is, it used to not be that way, but then people were literally just giving their accounts out.
Yeah.
So you'd have like Andy in the UK, and then you'd have like Punjab in India watching on his account, like he had his profile, and people were abusing it, and that's why that is not the place.
Yeah, but they could do it.
Option.
They could still do it that way. You can have 5 people if you pay $7.99 or something.
We have movies which are released by Hollywood, and the USA gets those movies potentially up to a month before they get them in the UK. It's getting less of an issue now. The irony is a lot of those movies are actually made in the UK in the first place. So
You know, we're trying to see a film
Yeah.
that's been made probably about 20 miles from where I'm talking to you right now, and yet Clara can watch it nearly a month before I can see it because they decide that that's the order they want to release it in because of the regions, and they made it region process. They've started to change it now so that there's less regional dependence on the release of movies and media like that, but it's still out there. Perversely, I noticed that but when we had a James Bond movie being released, we actually got it released in the UK before the US got it, which was kind of nice in a way, really, because he's a British guy anyway. So yeah, we kind of got that. But that's one movie in a world full of movies, and let's face it, most of the other movies are all made in the States. Well, no, not made in the States. They're owned by state-owned companies. They should sponsor it, so they get it first, despite the fact that they probably made it in Elstree Studios or down at Pinewood here in the UK. Or Leavesden, actually, was where they filmed Harry Potter, Mission Impossible, all the Mission Impossible series. Star Wars was made there. I can name drop so many movies which have been made within 30 miles of where I'm talking to you right now. And everybody thinks that they are American or American-made movies. They're actually made here in the UK. Oh yeah. Anyway.
So yeah, it's annoying. And that's the thing, like until these people, this industry figures out how to make their money and not, mess with the consumers this blatantly, it's gonna continue being a problem. Like they're gonna have a lot of piracy. And it's the same thing. Like, for example, here in the Dominican, you can subscribe for Amazon Prime. And it has the advantage that depending on the distribution centers that you deal with, there are state taxes that you would have to pay. Because, for example, we use couriers for a lot of the Amazon stuff. So if I wanted to order something right now from Amazon and it was next day delivery, I would enter like an address in Miami, for example. And then my item would get to Miami, and then a courier would take it from there to the Dominican within 72 hours.
Yeah.
So that one day thing, I'll get it in 4, but I still get my stuff. I'm gonna pay a fee based on the weight and the dimensions and what have you, but it's very nominal, right? It's maybe like at most 5 to 10% if it's heavy.
Yeah.
So the idea is, if the distribution center is in a state that has sales tax, because they're delivering to that state, they have to collect the tax, even if the thing doesn't ultimately stay in that state. But then if I have Prime, I get to lower the shipping cost, even though you still have to pay the tax, right? But it's still cheaper. So a lot of people use the free Prime, the Prime deliveries or whatever. So it's worth having Prime. But the other thing is Prime gives you Prime Video. But we for a long time, I don't know if it's still the case because I barely use it, but Prime used to not let you watch anything here because they assumed that you were from the US and you were traveling. So then most movies were unavailable. So you'd get like a handful of things you could watch. It was really crappy. And then it's like, okay, so why am I paying the same monthly as someone in the US when I don't get all of the content? And it's because of the licensing nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it is crazy.
I think it's gotten better now. Like, I haven't actually done it for a while, as I said, but I think it's gotten better. But that's one thing that, for example, a lot of people use VPNs for. Because then you could just use a VPN and say you're in the United States, and you can watch everything and get the most out of your subscription.
Yeah. So, there's all sorts of challenges in terms of location and stuff on this. Here is something, if I'm just looking at what's going out on YouTube right now, here's a little bit of information you may not ever see, or never ever thought you could see. We have kangaroos in the snow behind Clara and Rhea and Denise in the background there as well. So, this is an accurate representation of what's going on in Australia, both in summer and winter. It's quite an amazing build that you've put here together.
They are kangaroo in the snow. Yep.
I mean, I can show you photographs of wallabies in the snow, which we've had in the UK, where people that have had homes and they've had them as pets and let them go,
In
and
fact, I mean,
the wallabies have kept going, and have survived the winters, and they you go into the Peak District and there's a community of wallabies hopping around the countryside up there, wild. But yeah, generally we don't see those kind of things here in the UK, obviously, but you've got them in Australia. That's where they come from.
Let me try and find you a picture in Tasmania. Oh, that's a horrible picture. Oh, there we go. Just putting one in the chat.
Yeah, Kimmy. If you
I put a
remember the Peak
picture too.
District, if you remember the Roaches, which is just north of Stoke, going up just past Leek as you head onto the main Leek to Buxton Road. There's an area of where they do a lot of rock climbing up near there, and a lake, and there's a community of wallabies living just in that neighbourhood around there. I used to go rock climbing up there when I was at university there, and yeah, that you can see the wallabies in the snow in the winter. Oh, there we go.
Everybody's sending link here.
Well, some people never thought you actually never had snow in Australia, Pris, because all the Australians keep telling us about how wonderful the weather is out there. It's always sunny, and But when we watched Neighbours and Home
There's
and Away,
Australian Alps.
when we watch Neighbours and Home and Away, we never get to see the snow and the rain. So everyone always thinks that Australia's really warm and sunny.
Yeah, because
There's
the
Australian
Neighbours
Alps.
doesn't have snow there. I don't think they get snow. It's not cold enough. Plus, the winter is in July, not in Christmas.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, that's what happens when you live on the wrong side of the world.
we live on the best side of the world.
That's
Don't be
dumb.
jealous, Denise.
Just make sure that you hold on. You don't want to fall upwards.
Well, you know how it is.
Catch up.
We sit here on the other side of the world, and when it's our summer, when it's our winter, it's your summer.
Yeah.
What goes around comes around. So when it's there for your winter,
Except
it's
there's
our
only
summer.
there's only one problem. Like, we don't have seasons here. Always
Well, that's
summer.
because-
It's
Well, that's because you're
6
quite
degrees
close to the
Celsius
equator.
right now.
Yeah,
Yes.
Denise, that's because you're quite close to the equator where you are. You're an awful lot closer to the
Yep.
equator where I am, where last night we had an aurora just up the road.
Yeah, listen. Australia
yeah.
doesn't exist, okay? It's a psyop.
Wow.
That's a
Yes,
what?
Clanny says the Earth is flat. So
Let's not go there. That's a completely different
There
argument.
you go, Clowny. You understand what I mean. The moon landing was
The
fake.
Earth is a torus.
Yeah, well, the second life Earth is flat, most definitely. But
yeah.
no,
True.
there's
Second
a
life
thought.
is flat. Wow.
It is flat. Yeah. If I sail, or if I fly west for long enough, I'm not going to come in on the eastern side of the map, am I? Which would be kind of cool if you could, but you can't. So yeah, the second life world is flat. That's probably the only place where I can probably believe in the world being flat and treat it as such.
The world is a skybox.
What is a what?
A skybox.
A skybox. Oh, okay.
World is a vampire.
I don't understand that, but okay, all right. So, yeah,
It's Smashing Pumpkins.
I don't know that.
It's a song from the 90s. It's iconic. I'm sorry, baby.
Sorry, that's one or if I have heard of it, I don't recognise it from your singing. Anyway, but let's not go there. That's a different thing.
Because it's
New Year in Sydney is better than Times Square in New York because it's summer and New Year in Sydney, not the dead of winter in New York. Yeah, we all sit and look in the UK, look at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when it suddenly hits New Year in Sydney. We sit and watch the celebrations, and we know that the fireworks in Sydney are probably better than damn near anywhere else in the world. And it's a great way of seeing that New Year is actually finally happening. We get round to ours like sort of 10 hours later, and we're thinking that was pretty good. That was a good time. We've all had a few drinks. We've seen a few fireworks. We've all done Auld Lang Syne for the people that know what that song is, and all that thing. So we celebrated and maybe kissed our loved ones and everything else. Wished them all Happy New Year, and then go off to sleep or have a bit of a party for another hour, and then trundle off to sleep afterwards. And yeah, we all sort of ruefully remember what's happening in Sydney and say, our fireworks were pretty shit when it came to that in comparison to what was going on in Sydney. And of course, Sydney, well, has that nice warm weather at the same time too. So we're sitting there freezing our nuts off, and it's probably raining hard here as well, or even snowing, or in even some cases in Edinburgh where they really go mad on New Year. They have extra bank holidays to get over the hangover. And it goes absolutely crazy, but they've had their celebrations snowed off or blown out because of storms which have come in, which you do not have in Australia in that time of the year. So again, there.
And the great thing as well is that we get to celebrate, being on Second Life, we get to celebrate a few times because of the time zone.
You do. You kind of get it both ways, because you get it from like here I am in effectively just off the coast of Europe, and we are 8 hours behind Second Life. Yeah, I can talk to people in Australia in up to mid-afternoon when it starts getting late for Australia, and they go off to sleep, and then they get up roughly around 10 o'clock like we do when we talk to you, Pris. You get up roughly around 10 or 11 o'clock at night, my local time, and it's morning where you are. So you've been through that whole period again. So we say good night, and it goes 6 hours dead, and then you come back up, and we could be talking later. Whereas obviously a lot of people tend to be more focused on Second Lifetime, and it just doesn't work for us. But you again, because you're in Australia, you kind of catch the end and the beginning of it, so you can participate more in it from that point of view. But most of the world, unfortunately, is not in the extremes of the very west of the world or the very east of the world. In the middle, where the Middle East is, where Asia is, where Europe is, England and all of that. So we're kind of, I'm not saying we're at the centre of the world. Well, we kind of are legally, if you talk in terms of the time zones. 0.0 runs down through Greenwich, but Greenwich in London, that is. But we kind of get caught because everyone wants to drag us into a time zone which is 8 hours behind what my local time is, and that creates a problem sometimes. Well, I've already detailed one problem: the fact that I can't get decent support out of a Second Life-based organisation.
There is no center of the world. I already told you. The world is flat.
Yes, but there's a west of the world, there's an east of the world, and where west means east, there's a 0.0. That 0.0 runs through
I'm talking
Greenwich.
to Zia, because she's
We're
saying it's like
talking
the
to
core.
Zia.
There's no core.
Yeah, with the molten core of the planet would be if the planet's round. I guess we could probably say we're all flat earthers if we're in Second Life, because if we go to the west, if we keep going west, we don't come round to the east, do we? You can't orbit around Second Life. You can only go west or east or north or south or one direction. You don't come in from the opposite side of the map if you keep going. Oh yeah.
The world is petite
X.
No.
Petite X rule.
That mean nobody uses it anymore?
Shut your face, Denise. big boobies.
Oh dear, here we go again.
That top
Like
is
when we
really
talk about boobies,
really
Andy.
cool though. It's a really cool top. Me
When
just
everybody keeps saying about these bodies are old and fashioned and out of date, can't you all understand that they're doing a marketing plan on you to try and get you to buy the new stuff so that they end up getting more money?
No, no one is saying that
I don't
except
know,
for you
Andy.
and one
These
other
girls
person.
look pretty
They are.
great.
They are. They are.
No one is saying that except you and one person that we know, Andy. Like, it's not a thing that. No one's trying to market you a certain thing. Everyone's making what is popular. In 10 years, people will want to be skinny again.
Not just that, it's just the fact that there's a perfectly good body out there which everybody has got, and yet because certain people want to make more money out of you, they will tell you that body is old-fashioned and out of date to try and get you to buy into a different type of
Actually,
body.
the Maitreya X had been anticipated for years. Ever since I came into Second Life, I was hearing that Maitreya was going to have an update. People have been anticipating it.
Clara, I can't use Betrayer. I'm a guy. Okay.
Well, then what are you? What
Well,
new body has there been out for guys?
I simply use that as an example because I know there's an awful lot of people that are female and use these kind of things. I'm simply saying that I'll use a Pris word, the mafia that's out there that like to basically sell and make money out of people.
Andy.
Well, you can
No,
call
but
it
you
what you.
got it backwards though. They are making what.
No, they are trying to make money, and because basically
why would they stop doing that? They want money.
Because they're seeing their revenues fall because people aren't necessarily buying stuff because they've bought it all for their particular body. The best way they can generate more revenue is by creating a new body and telling everybody to buy stuff for that.
Only Maitreya has changed, and that was anticipated for years.
No, everyone has done. Legacy has changed.
They haven't changed. They added a body.
Yeah. Speaking of that, this is the best time.
Legacy has
I sit here looking at Petite X as opposed to Petite. I hear about Reborn. I hear about Krupa. I hear about.
Yeah, but they want.
This is the time.
Yeah, there's options, but no one is changing.
Yeah, it's one.
There are options, but no one is changing.
Well, let's just say if I had a Maitreya body and I didn't want to go the X route, where could I buy stuff for it now?
You can still buy stuff. There's plenty of stuff for
No,
Maitreya.
There's nothing for old Maitreya.
Huh?
I want to still be old Maitreya, and so I just wear my old stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, another little thing on there.
Wait, no. There's an addendum to that, and don't you sigh. I haven't hardly been able to talk because I'm having lag. There's an addendum to that. You can still buy old Maitreya clothes. They are older. They are not still being made, but they're all still available, except in a store like Blueberry. Blueberry went away to make Kiwi.
They are being made by creators, and I've asked a few creators, and they said yes, there's nothing wrong with Maitreya bodies, and in fact Maitreya is the most prolific body that's out there.
I don't know any creators.
They are. They simply say that people are. They're finding new creators are basically succumbing to a commonly generated belief that an X body, for example, or an X version of the old Maitreya body, is the only body to have because it's more realistic and because it's newer. There is actually nothing.
Wait, but hadn't they gone and done the X because creators complained that the topology of Maitreya was horrible?
Yes, Denise, that's totally right. They redone the body because the creators were complaining.
Yeah, but they were still saying that effectively there is nothing wrong with Maitreya.
I'm sorry, Andy. I don't mean for it to sound quote unquote this way. I don't mean for it to sound quote unquote this way, but what creators do you know? I don't think we know any clothing creators like personally that would tell us this stuff.
We maybe don't know that many creators. I have asked some creators personally, and they've told me that actually they've actually said that there is nothing wrong with a Maitreya body. It is sometimes more complicated to do stuff.
How did you ask them and when?
I finish what I'm
saying,
please.
Yeah.
They've basically said that it's slightly more complex to rig clothes for the Maitreya body, the old Maitreya body,
So therefore, they found that it's simpler to do the new Lara-X. So the events, the shopping, the products, and everything else, the creators are now just basically made for the new Lara-X, and that effectively pushes people off the old body. But there is nothing actually wrong with the old body. And that's just Maitreya. There's other bodies out there. From a male guy's perspective, I switched from Signature to Legacy. There's a number of different
But
options.
Signature has updated their body to Giant X now.
You got one over me. I don't even get to parties to see stuff like that. I do notice that Lelutka has brought out 2 free heads for people that have Lelutka Evo X heads. And
Yeah,
they are
they
being
are.
given to you automatically without you having to go to the store. Congratulations, guys. You don't have to go to a laggy store and spend hours trying to get into the place to get your free head.
Yeah, but you
It's being
have to
given
be.
you
There's a little
automatically.
bit of drama because it says you have to be a customer. So I think what they meant is that before you could just join the group and get the head, but now you actually have. If you have to be a customer, it means that you have to have bought a head.
Well, I think that's fair.
Yeah. So
I think
that's
that's fair.
How does that? Wait, how does that work? Which heads? How do you get them? Because I haven't heard
you
about
have
this.
to hit the
If you have the
redelivery
Lelutka
button.
Evo X head, you will automatically get 2
No,
heads.
you don't get automatically. You have to get go to your redelivery, and then there's a tab in the redelivery that you've got. Yeah, you get the head instead of going to the store. But you have to be a customer. So
Yeah,
that
I think
means
that's fair enough.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, everyone before the Avatar Welcome Pack would be one. And I was gonna say also, if you guys haven't checked it out, anyone out there who might not know, there's this multi-creator promotion called Asia Pop right now, I think it's called. And basically several creators are doing like, a collaboration to get specific looks. And right now, Ceylon and Eon heads are 75% off until the 21st. So you can get them for 1,000 Linden. Ceylon, like the Asian head. That's part of the Avatar Welcome Pack. Yeah, that one.
Still on, yeah.
And Eon. That's the male one.
There you go. Everyone's going to start looking Japanese soon, then, because it's a free head.
And if the thing is, both of those, if I recall correctly, are included in the Avatar Welcome Pack. So for new players, this is a prime opportunity to get, to upgrade your head to the full version if you're using those 2 heads.
Yeah, if you get the full version, you can do that. But yeah, the problem you get with the welcome pack is that they are limited use.
That's why I'm saying, like, if you want to upgrade, although I will say, like, my alts do not have the full version of the heads, and they're working just fine. Like, you don't get access to the HUD, so there are some limitations, but compared to the limitations of the body, yeah.
So you've got alts, Denise?
Yeah,
I thought there
I've
was only
shown
one
them
of
to
you.
you. I could have sworn I
No,
had shown them to you.
I
I have
can't.
like a male and a female alt.
You've got a male alt as well. My God, I thought there was only
Yeah.
one of you.
Well, because that's the thing, because I got, people kept saying and how hard it was to make a man and the lack of options. I went and made one, and he's rocking. He's looking awesome.
Yeah.
And it was pretty easy, to be honest. Like, easier than making a woman in some instances because you don't have that many options to choose from. But the options you do have are pretty decent.
Yeah. Oh well. We've got about 5 minutes to go, I think, before the end of this podcast. Is there anything else that people would like to talk about, or any more news that they've got, or anything they'd like to share?
To answer Zia, no, I haven't played with the Madrid head because I've been busy. Basically, I'll probably do it during my Christmas break. Yeah, everybody Okay, so yeah, if you buy a head today, you wouldn't be in the customer database. Yeah, so I think there's a few people that are upset about that.
Well, yeah. Does it mean that you've actually got to spend your 3,500 for that particular for a head
But
to be
yeah,
in the
yeah,
database?
you would have had to buy a head before, whether you paid full price or on sale. You would have
Okay,
had to
okay.
buy a
So
head.
let's think about this laterally. If I go and buy a demo head from that place, effectively I've bought something, but I've
No,
bought it at
no,
0 amount.
No,
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 So
you had to have bought before 2025.
before
yeah,
the
but if I bought
Yeah,
it,
but
if I
you can't buy a head today and then they'll give you the free head. You have to have already bought a head before 2025.
as I was saying, yes, but if you bought a demo
a
head,
demo
which
is not a
effectively
buy. It's a demo.
but is
You're
it?
not buying the
But is
head.
it?
You have to spend
Is it?
money.
No,
Now,
it's not.
can I just finish? Because the system they were using would be identifying the fact that people have purchased something, not the amount they purchased it for. So if you at any point had a demo head from that store before the
No,
cutoff point, that potentially I think would still
no.
flag up the fact that you are a customer, even
No.
if the fact that even if the head that you've got is
I'm
only
pretty
a
sure
demo
they
head.
get
No.
to tell the difference between a demo and a
Yeah,
full
a
version.
demo is a $0,
No,
zero
yeah.
written, and
Yeah.
a head is
Demo
actually
doesn't count.
yeah,
I mean,
doesn't.
I personally, I think it's fair the fact that someone has invested in a whole new head and spent that amount of money could then have the demo heads for free, and I think that's a good way forward. Frankly, you know, it's nice to be able to just walk into a store, sign up for the group, and get something for nothing, but that doesn't particularly help the creators. And you know, they all have their own overheads. They're all spending a lot of time, and I think it's fair enough. But I'm just simply thinking naturally, the actual system they've got there would simply recognise a purchase as opposed to the amount they've purchased for. If they could recognise the amount it's been purchased for, or recognise the fact
No.
that it's a demo rather than an actual head, then yeah, I agree with you.
No,
I
but
see
we're
that.
telling you no, it won't work
Yeah.
that way.
Have you tried it?
What do you mean if I tried it? A demo doesn't count as a sale. It's
Have
a
you tried
different
it?
thing. Have I tried it?
can't-
No,
I
I'm not gonna go track down a
yeah.
fucking head. I don't care. I don't have time.
I can't try it because I'm a customer, so
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've been going for 2 hours. Been a bit of a roller coaster tonight, hasn't it? In terms of some of the things we've talked about, and we talked in terms of verification, and obviously all the new activities which are going through for the holiday season here in Second Life. We've got another event going on. We've got another thing going on next week, which I know Pris has been mindful of that, and there's some other things coming that Pris has been working on too. So looking forward to seeing those, Pris.
what are we next week?
We're making a few
21st.
adjustments to the area where we are here. Just sort of fine tweaking it as time goes on, but it's looking nice. I'm kind of fascinated watching these kangaroos bouncing up and down behind Clara.
They're
looking
so
at it.
cute.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. I actually got a skidoo in the region the other night and rezzed it and was trying to drive it around, and God, that was hard. But that's a different story.
What in the snow?
In the snow, yeah.
Oh, I'll
tell you about that another time. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was a fun thing.
I can't see her sled.
I can't see her sled either. She's just sort of walking around she's doing like a wedgie on the backside at the moment. as far
I
as
can't
can
How
see.
is it that I'm the
I
one
do
flag
see
and
it.
I can see the sled?
Yeah,
Yeah, I can see it.
really?
I'm looking. Oh, now I can see the sled. There we go. The sled has arrived. It was just I'm looking at things on YouTube rather because obviously you're seeing. From the perspective of
On
viewers.
YouTube you see that. I don't see it.
Yeah.
God, that's
It's
funny.
quite funny. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, as always, ladies and gentlemen, please, if you've enjoyed this little journey we've been on tonight, and you're enjoying the environment, etc., please like, subscribe, come over, take pics, tell your friends. Welcome to join. Welcome to have a look at what's going on here. It's a fun time. It's a great time for opportunities.
Come throw eggs at Pris's house.
Great time to be able to get things done.
Like I say, lots of opportunities to be able to customize or augment or add to your collections in terms of things for your avatars or things for your deco and stuff like that. And yes, you can even throw eggs at Pris's house if you wanted to too. If you can get inside
And,
the
I
region,
think
and I don't
next
think you
next week we might do a giveaway as well.
Ooh.
Or are we keeping it for the 20? Yeah, let's do a Christmas present to someone somehow. We'll find a way.
Christmas present. Yep. Yeah, as Zia
Well-
said, free shit. There we go. So this is a technical term for those on YouTube that don't like the language. Yeah, we've got that out there too.
Yeah.
So yeah, welcome everybody. Tell your friends. Tell them to get the viewers. Come and join us. You know, we're all one big happy family here in Second Life. There are no geographical borders effectively to us, nor should there be. So long may that continue. I'll leave Pris to sign off. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, thank you very much for all joining us, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.
Comment and
Bye, everybody.
subscribe.
What?
Let me.
Not you, Gwyneth Paltrow.
Okay, done.